A story that has the whole world watching. The new strain of swine flu that is spreading more quickly every day. And our special coverage tonight begins with Chris Galis at the Vancouver airport. Chris?
Tony, the BC Centres for Disease Control has now confirmed a third case of swine flu in our province, and that brings the total number of confirmed cases in Canada to 13. Now, we need to emphasize that all of the Canadian cases are considered mild. However, 150 deaths in Mexico have been attributed or at least connected to the outbreak of swine flu. New today, the federal government issued a travel advisory recommending against all non-essential travel to Mexico, and almost immediately tour operators and airlines began canceling or suspending flights to that country. We've got all the angles covered tonight, and we begin with Robin Stickley.
This may be the first and last time Michelle Bossy steps outside of her apartment for the week. The 30-year-old just returned from a holiday in Mexico, and today it was confirmed she has human swine flu.
It was just horrible flu symptoms. And then we heard on the news, so we went to the hospital in Mexico. They said we didn't have the flu. They said we just had bronchitis or pneumonia as well.
Michelle is the third case to be confirmed in BC. Today, Ontario announced 4 new cases, Alberta 2 cases. That doubles Canada's total to 13 from 6 just 24 hours ago.
We've seen mild cases. We've even been detecting mild cases of influenza-like illness in returning travelers. So, in fact, this number is reassuring. It's a low number. However, of course, we're not being complacent about that. I expect there to be more cases. I expect that there may be hospitalizations and deaths. And what we need to do is think ahead and prepare for that possibility.
As the virus spreads, many Canadian travelers are taking precautions. This Winnipeg couple, just home from Mexico City, say they're planning a self-imposed quarantine.
We didn't do any public transportation. We took cabs. Most people were wearing masks.
7 countries around the world have officially reported cases. However, the only deaths so far are in Mexico, where the virus has now claimed 152 lives.
What you're seeing in Mexico is the tip of the iceberg. Essentially, a few people who are getting very ill and a smaller number who are dying, but maybe there's many more people there who are infected. If that's the case, it's good news, because it means that we've got a relatively low case fatality rate.
In California, a state of emergency has been declared to help with the outbreak, and New Yorkers have been asked to be on alert after hundreds of school children were sickened by the virus. But health officials are urging the public to maintain perspective.
The human influenza viruses in any given year, 10 to 20% of the population is affected. So to put that into perspective, 3 lab-confirmed cases is like really not a lot.
This strain of virus is new to the world, but the advice to avoid it is not. Wash your hands, and most importantly, if you have a cough or fever like Michelle Bossy, stay home for at least 7 days.
Now, this new strain of swine flu is proving to be kind of a double whammy, affecting passengers both arriving and departing from Canadian airports. We've actually seen people come to the airport just to pick up visitors wearing masks, and we've seen people arriving on flights from Asia wearing masks as well, concerned about being infected while they arrive in Canada. Now, thousands of Canadian travelers are also being forced to change their vacation plans because airlines and tour operators are reacting to the federal government's travel advisory. And we have more on that angle from Andrew.
As fears rise over the outbreak of swine flu, passengers are arming themselves, taking whatever measure they can to protect themselves. Today at YVR, travelers arriving from Japan were taking no chances. The Japanese government advising against travel to Canada.
Because they might have got a warning from the government or what?
They did, yeah, they did get a warning.
Who did they get the warning from?
It was directly from the government, advertising on the news, I guess, and they were telling them not to, she was recommended not to come to Canada, actually.
Even those waiting for friends and family to arrive are taking extra precautions.
It's actually our daughters that are coming in, and so, but they've been on an adventure tour, so they've been in the wilderness, but it's just a precaution.
Undoubtedly, the concern is growing after Ottawa's warning asking Canadians to postpone any non-essential travel to Mexico.
We need some information regarding your charters.
That's causing travel agencies to be inundated with calls now that Mexico is not an option. Clients like Thraso Petras are rebooking. He was hoping to relax on the beaches of Mexico. Now he'll be visiting family in Greece.
Oh, I didn't want to potentially get sick. I mean, it wouldn't be very relaxing to be on vacation on the beach and worried about every time somebody sneezes that. I mean, it's kind of freaky even just here.
With the swine flu outbreak growing more serious by the day, tourist operators are forced to take drastic action, postponing flights to Mexico until a later date.
Well, we just started receiving all that information that Air Transat is bringing the people back and their staff too, starting today. And then they're not going to operate till June the 4th. So that's major. And also SunQuest, which is one of the largest, they're doing exactly the same.
And late today, Air Canada and WestJet Airlines are suspending flights to popular destinations in Mexico because of the swine flu. Affected flyers can make changes free of penalty. Meanwhile, back at YVR, passengers are still flying in from Mexico City. Today, 33 farm workers arrived to join the hundreds already here on BC farms. But authorities ensure the group is healthy.